morning and welcome to 862 Water, Waste and Energy Committee meeting of 25th of November 25 and our very last for the year. I declare the meeting open at 9:02 a.m. A big welcome to our committee members and our visiting councillors, and we also welcome anyone joining us from home. Moving on to item 1, we have attendance and apologies, of which there are none. Item 2, requests for leave of absence, of which there are none. Item 3 is confirmation of the minutes. So the minutes of committee meeting 860 held on the 14th of October 2025 are to be confirmed. Do I have a mover for the motion? Thanks, Councillor Wilkinson. Seconded by Councillor Hamill. All those in favour? And that is carried. Item 4 is conflict of interest declarations. Do any councillors have any conflict of interest to declare against any of the items in today's agenda? No. Moving on to item 5, the committee forward planning schedule is currently starred. So if nobody has any questions about that, we'll deal with that in start items. Okay, councillors, start items for today's agenda are 5.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4 and 6.5. Are there any requests from the floor to have any of those unstarred? Great. So I've got a mover for all start items from Councillor Wilkinson, seconded by Councillor Hamill. Okay, 6.4, we'll unstar 6.4 for a question. So that leaves all other start items. Are you happy to move those? Councillor Wilkinson still seconding Councillor Hamill. All those in favour? And that motion is carried. Now I'm going to move a procedural motion for 6.4 to be brought forward because I'm aware that infrastructure General Manager has some commitments elsewhere. So for efficiency reasons, we'll bring that item forward. Can I have a seconder? Thanks, Councillor Wilkinson. All in favour? And that is carried. So we will welcome is Alex Leroya and Mark Vaughan to present to answer a question for 6.4. Thanks. Councillor Young, you have the floor.
It's a brief matter, I think, and I'm sure there's a lot of rigour gone into the preparation of this report and response. But I just wondered about the solution. If it's not feasible to have the pipe with the flap that opens when the stormwater is discharging, would that be a solution that might lend itself to this situation?
Through the chair, it is something we can add in future. I guess at this stage it doesn't provide any benefit given we are raising the pipe. So you've still got to maintain those flaps. All it does is provide us, I guess, a little bit more leeway in that we can allow the pipe to block lower. It won't fill with sand because of that lower flap, but the upper flap then can still operate. So we still have to maintain it to ensure that the upper flap is always free.
Mm. And there's the danger that that flap itself would become
if it's blocked, then
under the sand.
Yeah, and then in that case, you basically don't have any outlet for the water. Whereas if it's just sand, it can still flow out to some degree.
Thanks, Chair. Appreciate that.
Through the Chair, if I could add, as long as there's a little bit of daylight there, these pipes, there's a self-scouring motion that they run through. If you've got the sand blocking the flap, you've got to work against that, and it doesn't work as well. So if it's clear and you can get that self-scouring, it does help a lot.
I appreciate all that. Thanks, Chair. I'm happy to move the recommendation.
Thanks. Councillor Young has moved, seconded by Councillor Wilkinson. Would you like to open debate, Councillor Young?
No, I think that's, well, I'll speak to it just because it's out in the open. There was a petition seeking some changes to the outlet at Riviera Road, Miami, for the stormwater discharge onto the beach, and this response is identifying a solution that has been budgeted for 26-27 capital works. So I think it's a good outcome. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Councillor Young. Would anybody like to speak against the recommendation? No. Would you like to close, Councillor Young?
Thank you.
I'll take that. Take the vote. All those in favour? And that is carried unanimous. Thank you, officers. We'll now move on to 6.1, which is the Waste and Recycling Centre operational change, and we have Christy Otts joining us. Is there a presentation?
Through you, Chair. No, there's no presentation today, just the paper itself, which obviously will answer any questions.
Thanks, Chris. Are there any questions from councillors on item 6.1? Councillor Hamill.
Chair, the report talks to a lot of community consultation that occurred, and I'm aware that Chris and I think some other officers participated in some very specific consultation groups in this matter with some of these groups. I was hoping he could just, in his own words, give us a little bit more context of how that consultation went, what some of the feedback from the local community was, and their input into what the final solutions have been put forward are.
Through you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Councillor. The consultations really were focused on those areas most affected by the recommendations in this report, that being Numbinbar and Springbrook WRCs. So for clarity, the changes that we're proposing for Springbrook are that rather than that site opens up 24/7, that we move that site to operate consistently with Currumbin WRC, which is opening 4 days a week on the busiest days, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and that's locked up at night. We also put a staff member up there during those opening hours to help the operations of that, particularly around ensuring the site is used as designed and to encourage resource recovery rates. We've had 2 meetings in recent times with the communities up there. One was both organised by Councillor Tozer. One was a town hall meeting at the Springbrook Town Hall. We had about 45 local residents attend, and Councillor Tozer and I spoke about the proposed changes and answered questions around the drivers for those, but also some of the concerns and some of the practical operational matters that the community had some questions about. There was an online petition, which a large number of local residents signed. Some of the elements of that petition weren't entirely accurate, so that gave us the opportunity to talk about what was actually being proposed there. Separately, Councillor Tozer, myself and Christy met with a representative of the Numbinbar Valley residents and really, again, provided some drivers around why we are recommending what we are recommending, and that conversation went to broader matters around Numbinbar, which Councillor Tozer led the response to. In terms of the views of the local community, there was a view amongst a number of those attending that they would prefer things stay exactly the same. We did break down the rationale behind what we are proposing, so that we made sure that they got the facts and the drivers there, and both of those meetings were respectful and I thought quite constructive.
Councillor Young.
Thanks, Chair. I've just got a question about the bin facility at Maudsley at Cliffbird Park. My understanding is there are 9 properties that have keys to access that bin facility. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam Chair. There's actually 85 households that have keys to Cliffbird facility. There's only 9 customers in that area that don't have a curbside service.
Okay, so the 85, why do they have keys?
Through you, Madam Chair, they're legacy keys, so effectively those residents didn't previously have a service, and over the years as we've expanded our capability to provide curbside services, those households have now received a bin. To be fair, on that park, some of the issues that we see are outside of that bin corral, not necessarily inside the bin corral. I think any sort of waste management facility can attract misbehaviour.
So the original intention or the reason for that bin being in the park was because we closed the Holyrood Road facility, which was a WRC, I think about 2012. So all of the properties that weren't getting a curbside got a key, and over the years, most of those are now receiving a curbside cleanup service, and there's only a small number who need to access the bin facility. That's right.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, that's correct.
So once we've removed this bin facility, will there be any monitoring undertaken by Waste to determine and manage any waste that is put there illegally, please?
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have CCTV in place, Councillor. So we do monitor the misuse. We'll continue to monitor that and work with City Cleaning to ensure that any misuse is cleaned up. In particular, with Cliffbird Park, we'll work with the park rejuvenation team as well to see if that space can be used for community purposes.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.
Are there any further questions before we move this motion? Councillor Hamill.
Happy to move it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Wilkinson. I'll go to Councillor Hamill to open debate.
Chair, just very quickly, because this item has been through committee several times over several years to get us to this point. So just acknowledge that for a start. This has been a long journey and part of a much, much larger journey on our waste operations right across the city. These changes, while small in the whole of city scheme, I can understand for these local pockets of communities can be seen as quite big changes. A lot of these communities have got a lot of residents who have lived there for a long time and become very used to how things are, which is not unusual. So I can appreciate that any level of change came with a lot of questions and a lot of concern. What I'm really pleased to hear is that we've had very proactive councillors and city officers prepared to go out, front that community in person and have those discussions about the rationale behind it and what goes forward. I think I'd make the point too that while we've locked in, hopefully with supporting this today, the path forward for now, that it doesn't mean that if something isn't working in the future that we can't revisit it. It's not set and forget. It's about setting up the most efficient services for our community and whole city right across from the north to the south and the east to the west. If one of these operations doesn't work and there's a need to change in the future, we can come back and review that then. But very happy to support the officer recommendation on this, which is another step in amongst hundreds of small steps this team is taking to setting our city's waste operations up for many decades to come.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would anybody like to speak against the motion? Would anybody else like to contribute? I'll just quickly take the opportunity, thank officers for their work in this space. We know we're on a journey and this is another important step, but I would encourage councillors and residents to review the table on page 17, and it compares our city's waste services and our charges with 7 surrounding South East Queensland councils, and it's actually an incredibly positive story for Gold Coast residents and demonstrates an exceptional and unsurpassed level of waste services provided by this council in an incredibly challenging environment that is moving because of broader changes to waste management requirements. And I think that table speaks volumes to the hard work of what this team does to ensure that we have exceptional services and that we sustain a financially viable system, and this is an important step on that. Would you like to close debate? Okay, with that. Yes, Councillor Young.
I just want to confirm that the communications that will take place with the affected residents in the Maudsley case in particular, please.
Through you, Madam Chair, any resident or household that's impacted will receive direct communication, so that'll be mail-outs addressed to the resident. We'll also provide support for councillors in the area for any communication that they would like to do as well.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
And with that, we'll take the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Doran, how would you like to vote? Yep. Okay, all those against? And that motion is carried. That brings us to general business, of which I'm not aware of nothing arising from today's meeting. And with that, we'll wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the WWE team and close the meeting at 9:17. Thanks.